Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So I got a fun and exciting video for you guys today, and one that I did not see coming whatsoever, but I am very glad to talk about. That is because there is a new Ridge Racer compilation, including the original Ridge Racer 2, as well as Rave Racer, available today, all in HD, all in 16:9, and all available for anyone to play. This is by a developer called Wans Zai, and I will leave a link to their YouTube channel below because they do more than just this. But if you want to play this, you can play it on your Xbox 360. I've talked to people that have played it on their Xbox Series X in dev mode as well. And of course, you can play it on Xenia. And it is every single arcade released Ridge Racer game running on System 22. And it absolutely works flawlessly. This is the type of thing I keep saying Namco needs to make and release because people would absolutely buy it, as we just saw with the most recent Rave Racer port from Arcade Archives. And this is just one of those things. Rave Racer and Ridge Racer are some of the best arcade racing games ever made, and they should be very easy and accessible to play. So now, as of today, that's exactly what's going on here, so I'm going to talk about each game, what it is doing right, and why I'm so happy to see this. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But honestly, Ridge Racer, one of my favorite arcade racing franchises of all time, just behind something like Sega Rally as well as Daytona and the Outrun franchise. Namco absolutely killed it with all of these games, and they really showed that they could take on Sega toe-to-toe in the arcade space, not only graphically but also in racing gameplay, and absolutely excel. And it's one of the weirdest things, it seems like Namco just does not remember some of these games exist sometimes. I would love to be able to go out and just pick up a copy on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X on a disc and have all three Ridge Racer games from the arcades available to play, but that just never happens. And I understand the Pocket Racer, that is going to be an arcade release as well, but that actually ran on PlayStation 1 hardware, where this is dealing with all of the System 22 games, so it makes sense it's not here in this package. But Wans Zai absolutely nailed the brief when it comes to bringing these games over to a modern environment. Everything plays exceptionally well, all other controls and physics are here. It really just feels like playing something like Ridge Racer on an arcade cabinet, except with an Xbox controller in your hand. And the best part is you can actually connect to other Xbox 360s out there or other systems out there and play online matches. Wans Zai even has some videos on their channel where they're basically going from the United Kingdom to Brazil and having really good latency and a good time playing against another human opponent. And that absolutely cannot be easy in 2026, getting something like that to work across multiple different continents. And at the base value of this actual port, it is just the original Ridge Racer 2, which is kind of just Ridge Racer with a couple expanded features, and Rave Racer. So if you loved these games back in the day, you're going to absolutely love them here again. If you didn't love them back in the day or still don't, there is nothing in this package that's going to convince you suddenly that Ridge Racer is a game you're going to love. But for me, honestly, Ridge Racer's having a big moment recently. We just got Rave Racer released to basically every modern platform minus PC, and that was incredible. And now we have another version. And again, between 360 and Series X, you're going to be able to play this thing on real hardware. And I'm playing it on Xenia here just to show that you can absolutely do this without having to even deal with original hardware. So you kind of get your choice as to how you want to play these games. But it really truly is a love letter to exactly what Ridge Racer was, and you even get that FMV video you saw at the beginning as part of the entire package. You get options menus, you get everything you need to have a really fun time. And this, again, is what I wish modern publishers would do with their retro games. I keep saying this is why retro gaming is making a comeback, and it's because there are new and easier and more accessible ways to play some of the most classic games out there. And I really think that these publishers that hold the rights to stuff like this should be releasing compilations, even if it is just digitally, because these games are ready to go, people still fondly remember them, and I think you'd get a new modern audience going into some retro as well. Because honestly, even though I own all of the new platforms and all of the consoles, I would say this generation of gaming definitely one of the more boring ones I've ever seen. Not to knock it, there are some good games out there, but it just hasn't been hitting the same way the previous generations did. Let's go into our first of two soundtrack samples, because a lot of what Ridge Racer is the incredible music, and it has to sound good coming out of this package, and I will tell you it does. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll be right back.
Corner stop. Watch yourself.
mean, it sounds exactly like Ridge Racer should sound, with all of the different engine sound effects, the helicopter flying overhead, and all of the music coming out in the engine revving. And this is a custom translation layer, basically getting this to run on Xbox 360, and it is running the original System 22 versions of the game, basically via emulation, which is exactly what you get when you get modern Rave releases. Rave Racer from Arcade Archives isn't doing anything different, so it's not like this would be a quote-unquote inferior thing. Couple of clipping polygons over to the right there that you saw very briefly, but otherwise this thing is like 99% buttoned up and every bit as fun as if you just loaded this thing up in MAME and played today. And I totally get it, there's a ton of different ways to play these games, but honestly sitting on your couch on an Xbox 360 or a Series X, or even on your couch via Xenia, absolutely just works so flawlessly well. And again, these games are so iconic. This is the type of stuff I absolutely love, because there is no quote-unquote reason to have another way to play something like Ridge Racer or Rave Racer, but of course we're going to be absolutely accepting and stoked to get another way to play these classic games. And again, lowering the barrier of entry for people to be able to enjoy this stuff is always a good thing, because even though I know you, the viewer, probably have a MAME setup on your system, not everybody is going to get into emulation the same way. Some people want to run this stuff on real hardware, and that definitely benefits them as well. And again, the online component here, absolutely fun. You'll be able to get races with other people across the world, kind of like you were sitting in an arcade and somebody just walked up and decided, hey, you want to take a one-to-one heads-up race. And that really is an amazing thing. And I saw on the developer's page he's also porting over Paprium to the Xbox as well. That doesn't seem as buttoned up and has a couple bugs, so I'm not going to do a video on that right now. But when that happens, I'll absolutely take a look at it too. But you're seeing a lot of developments on the Xbox 360 side of things, not only in Xenia emulation, which I just recently talked about, but also in these custom game packages. And it really is fun because Xbox 360s are a dime a dozen out there. They are working so long as you get one that isn't going to red ring of death, and then you can go ahead and basically load custom software onto your heart's content, making an extremely appealing piece of hardware in 2026. And now with Bad Update basically being free and almost instantaneous, you don't even have to open up your 360 to get it to do these fun things. And that really is amazing. I think you're going to see a lot more fun stuff come to the 360 in 2026, because it is absolutely wide open and developers out there realize it is still a platform that a lot of people own and it can be acquired very cheaply. And if stuff like this keeps coming out, you're going to see a big year for the Xbox 360, and that makes me happy because it probably is my favorite Xbox console of all time, and I think it's the last time that Microsoft and Xbox truly knew exactly what they were doing with their hardware. Because honestly, Series X has been a little bit boring, and their new console seems to be trying to just be a PC in a box that they put an Xbox brand on. I do love Xbox, just like I love Sony, Nintendo, and everything else, but I kind of feel like maybe Microsoft has lost the plot on their own hardware. But leave it to fans to kind of fill in the gaps that Microsoft never could with something like a Ridge Racer arcade compilation. Let's go into the second soundtrack sample, because again, the music in this franchise is 10 out of 10 iconic. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, but come back and I'll talk about how you can play this today if you want to check it out for yourself.
Come on, drive a smart race. There's a lot of racing ahead. You're home free now, baby.
Now there was maybe a tiny bit of static there in the Rave Racer soundtrack sample, maybe almost like it was getting a little bit of crackle in it, but it could just be my imagination as well, because I always love to say in videos, I have two tin ears. I do not work in audio in any way, shape, or form. I am a filmmaker though, and I let every single thing audio-wise be handled by the audio department, because they know exactly what's going on, and I have absolutely no idea how any of it works. I just let the professionals handle it. So you tell me, because you've got thousands of ears compared to my two, what you thought about that soundtrack sample. But as far as the performance, as far as the latency, as far as the feel of Ridge Racer and Rave Racer are concerned, these are absolutely spectacular versions of the game that you can play on Xbox 360, you can play on Series X, you can play on Xenia, and you can have an absolute blast with. And that just makes me happy. I love that fans and developers out there are doing things like this, because we know full well the publishers are never going to do them. And when you have such iconic games like the original 3 arcade Ridge Racer games being available on quote-unquote modern platforms, just because it does run on Series X, but we're talking 360 here, it is just something that absolutely deserves to be celebrated. So if you want to play this one, I left a link in the description below to Wans Zai's YouTube page where you can see all the previews, and his most recent video has the builds available as well. So go ahead, check it out, and if you've already played it, leave me your thoughts down below. But short of that, we're done. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.